What's good, uh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and gals? Uh, gonna do a random unscripted YouTube video for the first time in a good while. So I mentioned it in a live stream like almost 2 weeks ago that I kind of like I didn't delete my old videos in the event that I want to go back and just like analyze my cringe. I just unlisted everything, just to kind of like do a fresh restart, revamp, I guess. But yeah, so a few things I want to talk about. In regards to the whole Gymshark situation, it's not even really a situation. It's just more like poor marketing. Marketing their Onyx launch. So it is about 350% cooked. It is June 8th at the time of this recording, and almost a month since their last update for Onyx. Everyone at this point is pretty upset that they're not like at least putting out a story post like, "Hey, so sorry for the delay. We're really working on getting the online store revamped." Even though we launched physical releases multiple times, one in London, one in Dubai, it kind of doesn't make sense. Um, so I think people are just kind of bummed with that. I have no stake. I have no stake in the company. I haven't bought anything from the company. I more so followed the company for I've been following the company for a while. I think it was one of their athletes is named Luke. Um, I think I followed Gymshark through him, but he's like one of the coolest content creators of like coming up with skits and being creative in that, in my opinion. And I still follow Gymshark just for the fact that I'd like to just keep updating the cooked meter. Um, so yeah, there's that. Nothing overly serious. On to the next topic though. Hussein Farhat versus the internet at this point. Um, I'm gonna say I have no real interest in the whole is he natty, is he not natty. I have more of like an interest on like how Hussein Farhat and by extension Greg Doucette formulate their arguments, whether that be how it's seemingly right now standing circulatory versus anabolic sticks arguments, that being if and then statements being backed up by circumstantial evidence. So from a debate standpoint, neither side have any real strong argument, strong case for their claim. Claim being I am natural. There's circumstantial evidence. Example being I'm a natural athlete. I competed in a natural competition, and the reason why I competed in a natural competition is because I'm a natural athlete. Circulatory reasoning, and then in addition to that, 1 in a million. Where is that statistic based off of? Not entirely sure. Again, I'm trying to be as objective as I can, only really analyzing the arguments that both parties are putting forward. Now, currently, there is going to be a drug test administered by a neutral third party, so I think that's going to be very interesting to see. For I believe it's a year, 6 months or a year. Don't know. Again, I really don't think that it really matters all that much. I'm of the opinion that if you're trying to like push for something, um, let's say you're wanting to be a coach or you're pushing a supplement and saying, hey, I take these supplements. This is how I got my physique. I think a good example would be Lee Priest. I watched a documentary or really an interview where he has no filter, and Lee Priest had I guess would had been unaware of a supplement company using his image or his likeness really to advertise one of their supplements, and Lee Priest got wind of that and he's like, oh, hold on, I don't support that. I don't use that. Why? Long story short, he said, no, 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 don't use my likeness to advertise your supplement that I don't use. Um, that being said, I think that if you are, if you're fully natural and you genuinely have been using the company's supplements for X amount of time, and that's how that's how you were able to achieve your physique. Obviously, discipline, balanced nutrition, lots of rest. That's primarily like the most important thing. So I think it was like Coach Colton. I think he's a ginger, and Army vet, but he explained it as uh, diet, nutrition in general, diet and nutrition at the top of a pyramid, right? And then weight training, rest and recovery, and then like at the bottom of the barrel, and he claimed it, like not claimed, he used the phrase like below bedrock level, supplements. So are they necessary? Yeah, I think it just depends. It depends on the individual really and your medical needs. If you have any extra medical needs, I think like dietary supplements are kind of necessary. I'm no doctor. I'm just going off of what I have observed in my personal life. So, all that being said, I think it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. I think you have a more. I think as an individual, you have a moral obligation to inform your viewers. Hey, I'm natural. Hey, I'm enhanced. Or hey, I was natural for X amount of time, and this is when I started becoming an enhanced athlete. My whole reasoning, I believe I hit my natural potential, kind of plateaued for a little bit, kind of was just balancing, coasting really. Wanted to push the envelope. I understand the risks, blood work drawn, etc., etc. Yeah, that's all I really gotta say on that. Now, as far as like uh, content creating goes, I just did my first live stream on Kick not that long ago. At the time of this recording, like maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. Um, so all I really want to do is kind of like diversify what I do as a content creator, or like want to be content creator. I just like to yap for the most part at this point. I haven't even really thought about competing in powerlifting in months, almost at a full year at this point. Um, but it has gotten to a point where like for me, like going to the gym just constantly and just creating content, just pumping out content all the time in the gym just is heavily exerting, and for me like that's just not sustainable. But also like I'd like to get more into content creating, whether that be live streams, gameplay videos, or just kind of like I guess a yapping session, or just really like an update on like what all is going on. I think that's a lot more sustainable. It's easier on me. I'm juggling 2 jobs at this point, so like yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of have to figure out something that's a lot more sustainable, right? Um, yeah. As far as like content creating, live streaming, I'll do some live streams on YouTube. Same with Kick. Will I do live streams on Twitch? No. Great segue onto my reasoning as to why optics. I can't get behind a company that has biased moderation. From what I have been seeing, removing all jokes, you know, all external commentary, external commentary, just like looking at the facts, it doesn't look good. Um, as for a company to like have a bias towards a small group of content creators, the positive bias, and they can do whatever they want under the sun. That's not optics wise. That's not good. Um, Especially with the bad publicity going on with one of them. I think we all know what one of those content creators is. Uh, you know, he calls Nuxanor nothing. He doesn't mention Nuxanor's name at all. Nuxanor has now gotten to the point where he calls himself Blue Voldemort, and I think it's hysterical. Coping and seething at the jokes being made. At this point, I think that it's kind of a joke at this point. Like, yeah, it's kind of serious for people who'd like to grow on Twitch. I think it is kind of serious. It's like it's probably not looking good for them long-term Twitch. But I wish nothing for the best for future content creators or current content creators on Twitch. I hope that, Twitch moderation doesn't, slam the ban hammer on them, on a whim for no real reason. Or if there is a good reason, I hope that it, like, they're able to, like, have fair, judgment, and that judgment was done for other content creators and not just that one singular one. But that being said, yeah, I'm not going to be streaming on Twitch. I have no intention on streaming on Twitch. Hopefully things get better. If things do get better, I might consider it. But as it currently stands, I have no real intention on streaming on a platform that promotes indirectly, not only promotes, but also indirectly supports Very questionable material that I feel not only goes against terms of service, but probably teeters on breaking laws. Just a personal opinion. I'm no expert on U.S. law, uh, but yeah, that's all I really gotta say about Twitch. And I guess like wrapping it up, the whole Switch 2 situation. I think like I made a joke a couple weeks ago about wanting to like gaslight an entire company into believing that like I somehow modded my old Switch 1 into playing Halo 5 and like a bunch of other non-Nintendo games by heavily editing pictures and have a method of like I guess like I have an idea of a method really on how to like beat an AI doing I guess visual analysis. I'm like, yeah, this video is heavily edited. I have an idea how I would get around that. Now I have to try like multiple trial and errors on like perfecting that method. Um, but that's just an idea that I have. Um, so far, I think like from one of the comments that I ever had read on my meme yesterday, someone had already like found a way to hack into the Switch 2 software and mod it pretty heavily. Now, whether or not Nintendo has automated mod detection software currently running, that's yet to be seen. Some people have already reported having stick drift. Now, I have horrible stick drift on my Switch One. I don't care at this point. I use it as a quirk. I every now and then will play Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it gets me out of a quick corner, a quick not quick corner, a tight corner. I just kind of let the joysticks do whatever. But really the input do whatever. I kind of don't care at this point. And I haven't even like picked up my Switch. Like I haven't like picked up my Switch One to play. Not even play Minecraft. Like I really haven't even bothered doing that. Like it just kind of exists. I have no intention on getting rid of it either. One of my good friends, they got me a nice decal pack for it, and I'm not giving that up. More so for sentimental reasons. Um, that's mostly the only reason why. But yeah, so first YouTube video in a good while. Will I have more YouTube videos in the future? Maybe. I think that I probably will do more live streaming on YouTube and Kick. Not really do many YouTube videos. I have like no real schedule set in stone, or even like a concept of an idea of what my schedule could look like. If I have any like concept of what I might be doing scheduling wise, like I'll make a YouTube post and Instagram post about it. Because like a lot of the stuff in the past, like yeah, I'm totally gonna do this. It always has fallen short. Like, external things I just can't control. I just kind of like meh. It is whatever. It is whatever. So yeah, that's about it. Y'all have a great weekend.